Welcome back. Justin Roberts, our good friend J-Rob, who was at BJ's with us on Saturday night, said that Trevor ate 47 Buffalo.
I've always
Buffalo
said
wings.
if there is a chicken wing, a hot wing eating contest, I would blow everybody out of the water, and that's including Jason Katowski.
He has been called out. I almost want to go out that door and tell him that right now because I don't. My money's on Katowski. Also, so I told J-Rob he probably lowballed you, and then he said I didn't include the avocado rolls, potato skins, and the rest of my pasta. So you ate a lot on Saturday night, but
I didn't eat any of your pasta. I ate some of that pizza.
That might have been a slight exaggeration. Yeah, we all had some of that pizza.
I don't think I ate on Sunday.
The point is, look, we worked hard. We had a good time. Okay, now it's week 1 now. So everybody else who didn't start last week is going to start this week. A lot of teams are playing for the second time.
Independent, Stockdale.
I didn't ask for a laundry list. West High, East High. Okay, let's go get straight into predictions. Last week we kind of short shifted ourselves on how much time we spent.
Yeah, we're taking
a
half hour now.
We got a full 25 minutes here to go. Kern Valley is at Silver Valley. Kern Valley able to pull away from Boron at home last week. I almost picked against the Bronx. I had it written down. By the way, you can see all my predictions, all my little preview paragraphs on Bakersfield.com/BVarsity. I had it written down that Silver Valley was going to win this game, and then I went back and thought about it. 11 out of 12.
Game 1 to game 2.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the Bronx, but we'll see. I'm not sold on them this year. We'll see what happens. What about you?
I'm in the same way. I think that they got a smaller roster. They lost a lot with Dalton Gallis, who's now on the roster at BC. So, I think there's going to be a learning curve. I think they got some good players, but I think they'll take a little time. But I think they'll pull this one out on the road.
By the way, you can also download the TBC mobile app, and you can get all of the California's content. That's what I'm doing right now to look at our predictions. It's free in the Apple Store and the Android Store.
I print them out.
Right there.
Okay.
That's the predictions for free. Okay, tonight, by the way, there's an 8-man game, Mojave against, get this, the Sherman Oaks Center for Enriched Studies. And what's Mojave won, like 13 games in a row or something?
Yeah.
So take the Mustangs.
Yep.
Okay.
Easy one. Next
game up. Desert Christian and Fraser Mountain. Fraser Mountain took a 46-0 beat down to Mammoth last week. Desert Christian lost to Cal City. Desert Christian's kind of been down, but Fraser Mountain, I don't like where this is going for the Falcons.
When you got longtime area coach Mark Sandel up there at Fraser Mountain, maybe he's able to turn it around. I just don't think he's going to do it this year.
By the way, did you know that you picked like 6 games by the same score?
Yeah. And you guys remember, we do this independently. I do this like
But you do that on purpose. I mean, I think you have like literally 6 games that are 31-13.
I like that number.
Yeah, and the other number you love is 12. Teams that lose always score 12 in your book. So if you hear a lot of Trevor saying 12. I don't know if you've noticed,
there isn't a lot of kicking going on this year.
So Desert Christian 24, Fraser Mountain 6. That's my pick. You have Desert Christian winning 20-13. By the way, I have Kern Valley by 1 point, 21-20 over Silver Valley. Okay, next up, staying in the HDL. Desert at Cal City. Desert used to be in the HDL. I think eventually they'll get back in again. But they may very well be the best team in that area this year. Now, thing I noticed, Logan Lukenbill, who ran for 2,000 yards last year, only had 3 carries last week. I think he got hurt, but I was unable to corroborate that. But then they had a guy named, what was his name? Spud, right? Spud Thompson ran for 204 yards and 4 TDs on 15 carries in relief of Logan Lukenbill. So apparently out at Edwards Air Force Base, they grow great running backs on trees, and Spud Thompson is the latest in that line. Take Desert.
Spuds come out of the ground.
I have Desert 34-13. You only have Desert 20-18.
Spuds come out of the ground.
Explain this to me.
What's that?
Okay, your joke fell flat, and you kept repeating it. Okay, here we go. Desert 20, Cal City 18 is your pick. Explain that to me. Why do you think it's going to be so close?
Because I do. Because it's at home in Cal City, so you got to travel a little bit for Desert. So I'll give that edge there. Okay. That it's going to be a little bit closer.
Okay. Fair enough.
And Cal City's coming off a win.
Let's move on. Strathmore, we're into the SSL now. Strathmore at Kennedy. Now, Kennedy, interesting thing here is, okay, when they were the dregs of the Central Section, which was 5 of their 6 years of existence. I mean, they won 4 games the first 5 years, as we've repeated. I think they started to schedule thinking, let's schedule a couple of games we could win in the non-league, right? And they did. They won a couple of games in 2013, or 2012, and a couple more in 2013. Last year, they all of a sudden were much better than all those teams, and now they're sort of stuck with those teams on their schedule. They should beat Strathmore easily.
Yeah, I think so. I've got a 3 touchdown.
You have 35-13, which might be the score you have 6 different times. I'm not sure.
Hey, I was almost close on that one. With
35. I have 49-12. I went with your 12.
Yeah, I think that right there kind of killed the momentum of Kennedy last season and not getting a. Oh wait, there was no state D6, so they couldn't.
Well, they would have been the small school, but or
Yeah.
actually they would have had to be D3, and clearly their strength of schedule wasn't even close.
Right.
This year they would get in, obviously playing against another team with a weak
things
schedule.
happen again, you'd probably happen to see them in the D6 AA because of their strength of schedule.
Or whatever. I don't even know what they're all called anymore. But okay, let's move on from that one. I think we all think Kennedy will take that one easily. Shafter at Rosemont, interesting one here. I'm sure when Shafter looked at this season, they thought, "Hey, we can get out to a fast start. We got Miramonte and Rosemont. There are a couple of teams that combined for 3 wins last year. We should start out 2-0 like we did last year." Not so fast, my friend, because Shafter loses to Miramonte, 28-22, and now they play Rosemont on the road. Can they beat Rosemont? I say yes. They get it done. What did I go with in that one? Let me find it here.
You went 31-13. I went 13-12.
13-12.
Yeah, close one.
Whew.
Here, this is from Ron Nichetti up at the state office, the guy that actually wrote the new rules for the state football playoffs. He goes, 13 divisions, but only 12 regional games in each of the North and the South, since the open teams have a bye. There may be a play-in game in the North if all section champions elect to participate. Divisions are open, and then a second open, which is 1250 and less. So you've got one open, which is the
Small
enrollment
school
is
open,
small
yeah.
school open, large school open. Then it is 1 AA, 1A, 2 AA, 2A, all the way down to a 5 AA, a 5A, and then there is a D6 AA.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds like batteries. Okay. Let's move on. Let's get through a few games here before we get. We'll save the big games for the last segment. West and Porterville. This is a pretty big game, actually. We didn't save all the big games for the last segment. This game a couple years ago, West went up there on a Thursday night. It was the first game of the season, and Porterville ran a roughshod over West. They could not stop that running attack. But guess who the offensive coordinator of Porterville was at that time? It was Dennis Moody, who's now at Kennedy. And lo and behold, now Kennedy is running roughshod over people. Porterville, a little bit slower last year. Last week, they couldn't do anything against Centennial. What can they do against West? I say they do just enough to win at home against a team that hasn't played yet, 30-22. But I could see the Vikings winning it.
Yeah.
And that's what you see.
Yeah, I see that, West has their leading passer, leading rusher, leading receiver coming back. If they can get that O-line working, Porterville may be a little bit downtrodden after losing the season opener at Centennial. Maybe doesn't come back all the way, and I think that West maybe can surprise some people kind of the way that Taft kind of surprised us all last week, and we'll get into that more later.
Sure, and West, you have them 20-18, which it's the second time you've chosen 20-18. What
What?
do you get
Next
these
week
scores
I
from?
will. I don't see a lot of kicking, so unless teams are making 2-point
Okay.
conversions,
All right.
there you go.
Which they do. Okay,
or
moving
you
on.
make one and then you miss one, and you go for a 2-point conversion, still adds up.
Tranquility, which has 2 L's, by the way, public service announcement. Tranquility at McFarland. The Tranquility Tigers. Look, McFarland's going to have to show me something before I'm picking them very regularly. I'm taking Tranquility 24-13.
And I've got a low scoring affair, 13-6.
You don't have any faith in either offense.
I do not.
Tranquility did win a game last week, by the way, against Carruthers. That's a pretty good win for a D6 program.
It's a bummer too, because you don't like to talk about high school kids and not playing well, but sometimes
Well, if we're
it's
going to
just
pick
the
every
nature-
game, you got to pick.
That's just the nature of the beast. That
Yep.
there is a winner and a loser.
And
There are no
sometimes,
ties.
sometimes the loser is the same team every week. Okay, moving on. Next up is Golden Valley hosting the suddenly red-hot Miramonte Lions, who have won 2 games in a row, right directly after losing 21 games in a row. And your stat, of course, after Kennedy, who's the 11-man football team in Kern County, the longest winning streak, it is the Miramonte Lions with 2 in a row.
I love that. I love it. I love that. David Cold Iron comes in last year, gets a downtrodden program, kind of like what Kennedy had and Dennis Moody. they go 0-9 to start the season. Then you know what? You know what you do? You win the last one, and then you ride that one through the offseason. You make the kids believe, and what do? You come out, you win one, you take the lead with 1:13 left on a touchdown, and you go on with a winning streak.
Having said that, I don't think they're ready to win at Golden Valley, especially a Golden Valley team that's going to be kind of ticked off and desperate after losing to Taft last week. I take Golden Valley here, 34-17.
What did I put? I don't
You
even
have
remember.
24-13 Golden Valley.
Tyler
but-
Waters is not going to, that's a big body quarterback. It's hard to bring him down.
Tyler Thompson
had
ran
a
for 265 yards last week, and they still lost.
Yeah.
You don't see that very often. A team.
Why? Because Taft ran for 300.
Yeah, Josh Saylor had 280 something yards.
He had 189.
No, he was over 200, I think, wasn't he?
We had it 189
okay.
in the paper.
Maybe
so.
that's what. All right.
Which is funny because that was only 47% of their rushes in that game for Taft.
Okay, one more before we go to break. Let's hit up Arvin at Foothill. Foothill, that 21-game Miramonte losing streak. Foothill's creeping up on it. They've lost 18 in a row. Is this the week at home Jason Oliver and the Trojans get off the schneid?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't. I want to say it. I think this is, probably one of their better shots at.
Yeah, I don't think so
streak.
either. I do think they could give Arvin a game. Let's put it this way: if they don't give Arvin a game, Foothill's in for another long year. I think we got to see some sign of competitiveness from them to think that they can win a couple down the road.
And it's rough to see such a program that was so dynamite, but as the West Side schools have kind of grown, so has the younger families are not growing up in the East Side anymore.
Right.
So you're not getting the football players. You're not getting the
well,
students.
and
You're
the
not
other
getting
problem
kids
is
coming out.
the athletes that you do have at that school have to work. They're academically ineligible. They can't get a ride home after practice. I mean, there's all sorts of different things. Just because you got athletes at your school doesn't mean they're all going to play football. So, okay, let's take our last break. It's going to be a short break, and we'll be back with the rest of the predictions for Week 1 right after this.